What a morning this is. Mika Bauer has been released from Paderborn training to hold talks with Celtic, and his medical could happen today. Haitham Hassan's announcement is expected before the end of the day. West Ham are now lining up alternatives to Arne Engels, which tells its own story. A Hibernian midfielder's agent has come out publicly saying his player wants to join Celtic, and a backroom exit has been confirmed. Absolutely massive Wednesday for the club. Let's get into it. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Greg Wallace has left Celtic to join Brendan Rodgers at Al Qadsiya in Saudi Arabia, with the exit confirmed this morning by Sean Maloney, despite no official announcement from the club. Wallace arrived at Parkhead in 2022 from Tottenham Hotspur as head analyst and first-team coach. He worked under Ange Postecoglou, then Brendan Rodgers, and then Martin O'Neill after Rodgers departed last summer. His role was central to the individual development work done with players at Lennox Town, particularly in the attacking phases. Maloney, speaking to The Celtic Way, referenced Wallace's departure directly. He said, "Last season it was Gavin Strachan who did that. I can't take any credit for that. We also had Greg Wallace, who went to Saudi with Brendan recently, and those two were really good with the individual stuff. I was doing things away from the pitch more, so I will pick more of that up this season. Stephen McManus and Mark Fotheringham do their stuff with different positions, but it was Gav and Greg who did the attacking work." That is a significant loss to the backroom, coming on top of Gavin Strachan's earlier move to West Bromwich Albion. Both men handled individual attacking development work. Maloney now says he will absorb those responsibilities himself this season. The timing of this news is worth noting. Celtic are 7 days away from the first leg of the Champions League playoff against Lask. The preparation work being done right now at Lennox Town is the most important preparation of the entire season. Losing two coaches who handled individual and attacking development in the same summer is a real ask of those who remain. Now for the main story, as Mika Bauer is closing in on a move to Celtic, with Paderborn releasing the midfielder from training this morning to hold talks and his medical potentially taking place today. German outlet Neue Westfälische, who have been closest to this story throughout, report that Bauer did not take part in Paderborn's training session on Wednesday morning. The club confirmed he had been given permission to hold talks, with a move to Celtic now described as close. They also suggest a medical could happen as early as today. This is the clearest development yet in what has been a long-running pursuit. Bauer is a 22-year-old central midfielder, a German under-21 international who played for Paderborn in the second division of German football. Personal terms had already been agreed between Bauer and Celtic earlier in the summer. The sticking point was always Paderborn's asking price, with Scottish reports putting the potential fee at around €8 million. For Paderborn to release a player from first-team training to hold transfer talks, they have to be convinced a deal is coming. You do not disrupt your own preparation for a game otherwise. That detail alone speaks louder than any report about the state of negotiations. Bauer's arrival would give O'Neill a young, dynamic option in the middle of the pitch and provide much-needed depth in midfield, particularly at a time when Arne Engels' future at the club remains completely unresolved. Celtic cannot afford to lose Engels and have no replacement in place with the Lask playoff a week away. If the medical goes ahead today, this could be announced very quickly. Keep your eyes on the Celtic social media channels this afternoon. In other news, West Ham are now looking at alternative midfield options as their pursuit of Arne Engels continues to stall, with Celtic holding firm on their valuation and showing no sign of accepting anything short of what they believe the Belgian is worth. According to respected West Ham insider ex-Hugh employee, the London club are keeping an eye on Rennes midfielder Jordan James and Hibernian's Josh Mulligan as alternative targets should the Engels situation remain unresolved. That development is significant. West Ham looking at other options does not mean their interest in Engels has ended, but it does tell you they are preparing for the possibility that Celtic will not sell. And it puts a timeline on things. If West Ham decide to move for James or Mulligan instead, they will want those deals done quickly too. Celtic value Engels at around £25 million. He has 2 years left on his contract, started both Premiership games so far this season, and produced an outstanding display in the 5-1 win over Kilmarnock on Sunday. The club have also indicated they would prefer to keep him available for the last playoff before considering any sale later in the window. So right now, Celtic hold all the cards. Engels is under contract, playing well, and the club have no pressure to sell. West Ham need to decide whether they will match the valuation or move on. For Celtic supporters watching this story develop, the fact that West Ham are identifying alternatives might actually be good news. It suggests they may walk away rather than pay up, and keeping Engels for the Champions League push is the right call at this stage of the season. In other news, the agent of Hibernian midfielder Miguel Chaiwa has told Celtic News directly that his client wants to join Celtic, with the camp making clear they would welcome a return to negotiations. Chaiwa's representative said, "Celtic is a big club, and you don't turn that down. The player wants to go there." Celtic News understands there have been no fresh talks between Celtic and Hibernian since May. The last approach from Celtic's side came before the end of last season, and since then the situation has gone quiet at the club level. But on the players' side, nothing has changed. Chaiwa still wants the move, and his camp are actively pushing for it to happen. There is also a potentially useful development on the fee. Hibernian were originally understood to be looking for around £4 to £5 million for the Zambia international. Chaiwa's representative has now indicated that figure could be lowered if Celtic decide to return to the table. Chaiwa is a 24-year-old box-to-box midfielder who has impressed in his time at Easter Road and shown in direct games against Celtic that he can handle the tempo and physicality required at the highest level of Scottish football. He has played in both of Hibernian's games so far this season and has clearly not put his head down and accepted that the Celtic move is over. Whether Celtic go back in for him will depend on how the Engels situation resolves and what happens with the Bauer deal. If both midfield targets arrive, Chaiwa may not be needed, but if Engels goes, the need for another body in that area becomes urgent, and Chaiwa's camp have made it very easy for Celtic to pick up the phone. Lastly, the Haitham Hassan transfer announcement could come today, with Celtic News understanding the deal has reached its final stage after the winger completed his medical in London. The remaining step is the final sign-off on the paperwork. Sources close to Real Oviedo have told Celtic News they expect everything to be completed on Wednesday, with both Celtic and the Spanish club ready to announce the deal the moment the documents are signed. The structure of the deal is well established at this point. Celtic will pay an initial £6 million for Hassan, with add-ons that could eventually take the total to £9 million. The 24-year-old has agreed a 4-year contract at Parkhead. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.